This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Inspired by the Hillary-Donald campaigns and upcoming election, and specifically inspired by Robert De Niro's message to tell people to vote. He is highly biased in his preference of candidate while he's trying to give a non-biased, get out and vote message. I think everyone knows, the conservatives, the Trump supporters, and the liberals, that lower voter turnout is going to favor Hillary. Trump supporters are going to vote. So a low voter turnout is going to give them a proportionally stronger voice. So here's my angle on my get out to vote message. I'm not talking to non-voters. Dear kind people who didn't vote yesterday. So listeners, please imagine what I'm trying to get you to do. I'm going to attempt to do this repeatedly between now and Election Day. I'm not talking to undecided voters. I'm not talking to people who think they're not going to vote. I am wanting you, please, listeners, I'm begging, por favor, I'll do anything. Imagine yourself the day after Election Day, and you didn't vote. Okay, so now I'm projecting myself into the future. Dear, kind listeners who didn't vote yesterday for any reason, your car broke down, your pet died, whatever. Everyone has a reason not to vote. Some are good, some suck. Dear, kind listeners who didn't vote yesterday, this is one of those elections that has given us worthy information to position us to engage our brains and choose a candidate. Okay, you don't like Hillary, you don't like Donald, who the fuck cares? Pick one, because if you didn't vote yesterday, then you pick the winner. If you didn't vote yesterday, then you essentially, by default, you voted for whoever won. Now, provided we don't have a disputed election, this imaginary projection into the future, it's the day after Election Day. We already know who the winner is. And if you didn't vote for good reasons or bad, then you, by default, voted for the winner. Now, John McCain is one that said he's going to write in the name of some worthy Republican because he will not vote for Donald Trump and he will not vote for Hillary Clinton. So I'm talking about John McCain, if you actually do what you say you're going to do, and it's the day after the election, and Hillary won, like it or not, John, you voted for Hillary. You put her in the office. Now, listeners, please, those of you that did not vote yesterday, that did not vote on Election Day, you're waking up and realizing that Hillary or Donald is now the president. So think about what you've done. We can complain about the money in politics. We can complain about these scripted messages. But Hillary has had transcripts leaked from some speeches she gave to some Dutch bank and another speech she gave to Goldman Sachs. And it's where Hillary thought other people were listening. And it's where Hillary felt she could keep it a secret because multiple requests for those speeches were denied. But with the hacking skill of WikiLeaks, they allegedly got respectable copies released to the public. So Hillary has given us a view into what she would say when she thinks the public's not listening. That's exactly the kind of information that gives us a clue to the inner workings of a candidate's brain. It gives us the ability to decide whether that person will be a good president. And then Donald, of course, has flapped his mouth with tapes released to Howard Stern on Howard Stern shows and also with this Access Hollywood Billy Bush thing. Okay, we got a clue into Donald's inner workings, and many people are saying it clearly indicates he's not ready to be president. So whatever you think of that, you can't claim, listeners who did not vote yesterday, you cannot claim that the election was so chaotic that you were not presented with information worthy of making a decision. Hillary's speech, what she said to the bankers, is relevant. What she said to the bankers are words she intended not to be heard by the public. Those words are words she intended to conceal from the public, though she didn't get her way. And then Donald, of course, it got crazy. I don't need to emphasize that. I think Hillary's stuff has been underpublished and Donald's has been published sufficiently. So regardless of what it is, these are not their choice of words, choosing their audience and the time, place, occasion. These are legitimate clues into the inner thinking of these two candidates. Again, listeners, I'm trying to get you to imagine waking up on the day after election, looking at Hillary, looking at President Trump, deciding if you can live with the fact you didn't vote yesterday. Again, you got cancer, your pet died, you can do what you can. You can reconcile this. But if you really don't have a good reason and you got President Hillary and you really wish you didn't, you're going to complain about it for 4 years, it's your own fucking fault. And the same is true for Donald. The second debate is beginning. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.